Ms. Smith, it is such an honor and a pleasure after decades of being a fan of your on camera and voiceover work. How's your day going aside from having to speak to this guy?
Oh, it's great. Well, except that I apologize for having to do the interview in my closet. They're trimming the trees outside my house, the city. So it's nothing but chainsaws. And I had this great background with Simpsons cells and this in the one room in the house that has any Simpsons anything. And then all you could hear was chainsaws. I'm like, oh shit, now what? So I'm in the closet. But I'm so happy to see you, Darren. This is great.
Likewise, the pleasure is all mine. And before I throw questions about other projects in towards the end, the new film, Who Are You People? How much of the character Sarah is there in you, the human being?
I would say it's funny, not a lot, except for I feel like the one characteristic of her that I could really truly connect to, which is her she's not brittle. So while she's deeply religious, she's very Christian, she's very buttoned up, she's very conservative. She likes things a certain way. She hasn't really moved with the times. When you look at her, you feel like, what decade are you in? But for all of her sort of seeming rigidity, she's actually not brittle. She's actually really invested in giving Devin's character a second chance and helping him redeem himself after he really kind of fouled up his life.
Well, star-studded cast, yourself included there. How did you come into this project? Did you know Ben?
I didn't know Ben, but one of our head of production at Paperclip Limited, which is the company I co-founded with Ben Cornwell, who's been my partner for many years, Jordan Foley, who's a brilliant producer, he knew Ben, so he brought us this film, and I was sort of. I'm like Hitchcock. I'm like, listen, can I just do a drive-by in it somehow? It was just like a little, oh, there's Yeardley. Oh, so I was happy that Sarah was a little more than a drive-by. That's my angle.
Well, your career is remarkable, not just because of The Simpsons, but because you've done your fair share of sitcom and on-camera film work. You have your podcast, which is acclaimed. It's this diverse career, but I don't know if all the fans know of all these different projects going on.
Yeah, we have. I co-host a really successful true crime podcast called Small Town Dicks with my now husband, Detective Dan, and his identical twin brother, Detective Dave.
Yes.
And we added Paul Holes to the mix in season 11. Paul Holes, who helped break the Golden State Killer case. So
Yeah.
it's a really extraordinary lineup where all the cases are told by detectives who investigated them. And we just launched a new podcast, actually also hosted by detectives Dan and Dave, called The Briefing Room, which is really, it's topical conversations from the law enforcement perspective, but like sort of really, this is our experience, and it's really sort of down the middle, neither too far left, not too far right, but
Right.
from our experience as law enforcement, this is what I can tell you about active shooter training. This is how to target harden your house. Here's how to keep your kids safe online. Here's what we see when we see this viral video of police brutality. So we just launched that, and it's quite successful.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I think if you can't be nimble, then you will be eliminated. So
Wow, that's the nicest Darwinism approach that I could possibly imagine from you.
It's really true, and sometimes I've come to that realization the hard way, when my on-camera career started to really dwindle, not by any choice of mine. The business changed, and who knows, a lot, there's so many factors when you're relying on other people to give you the job. It took me a long time to sort of pivot and go like, Yardley, you're not going to be able to just be an actor anymore. You're going to have to add some hyphenates. So here we are, and I'm glad I did. But acting is still my first love. So I'm really happy, always happy to do something like Who Are You People, or always happy to do Lisa Simpson, who I adore, like a living, breathing, red-blooded, three-dimensional, great little girl.
Right. The podcast, one follow-up question on that. Myself as an investigator, I'm curious, what your gateway was into being interested within the investigation field.
Oh, it was Detective Dan. So Detective Dan and I, we met at a Simpsons event. He was my security detail. And my second divorce had been 6 years prior, and Dan wasn't dating anyone. Anyway, we started dating, and we dated long distance for almost 3 years. And then he retired and he moved to Los Angeles. And then after 8 years, played a long game. We got married last June. But we started the podcast in 2017 when we were still dating. We were engaged by then. Were we engaged by then? Maybe. I forget. Anywho, and because when I used to visit Dan in his hometown, Dave would come over and they would just download their Wednesday, and it was jaw dropping. I was like, oh my God, people should hear about this. And it should come from you. I don't want you to tell me the stories just because I'm the more well-known person, and then I will regurgitate them. It needs to come from the source. And so that's how Small Town Dicks was born.
And keeps growing. I mean, the average podcast, it's 2 seasons gone, if even that. So 11?
Yeah,
12?
we're 12. We launched season 12 on April 21. And we're at 45 million downloads, which is amazing for an independent podcast, that's not backed by a big Spotify or Wondery or, Amazon. We're kind of the little engine that could. So very proud of that.
Well, 3 quick questions, and then I let you go and roam free and get asked the same questions by the next interviewer. And the first one is, Who Are You People is the latest film. Is that the only film on the horizon, or is there another thing after that?
Yeah, no, there's great stuff coming down the pipeline. We're actually developing a film for me to star in, which I'm super excited. Paperclip, the company, was not formed as a vanity shingle for Yeardley Smith. It was formed as a company with 2 rules. 1, no assholes allowed. 2, be the first to say yes. So we do a lot of development, and then we're actually physical producers as well. But we're doing this film, which hope to shoot in Nova Scotia because it takes place there at the end of this year. Fingers and eyes crossed that it all comes together, because we've been working on that for a long time. And then there's several others in the hopper that are very promising, that have finally sort of reached a threshold where you're like, oh my God, I think we're there, and now we get to ski downhill fast and fun. So hopefully I can come back to you in a few months and go like, see, Darren, see, all this shit is happening.
I believe you. I mean, your career is rooted in getting things done, and hence working steadily for 40 years. But anyway, question 2 of 3 comes from a fan of yours, Dante Capizzola. He wanted to know if a Herman's Head reboot was ever discussed at any point in time.
No, Herman's Head only ran for 3 seasons. In network television, the magic number is 5 seasons. That means you have 100 episodes, and then they can syndicate it. Yeah. It's all about money, but I get asked that a lot, and I loved that show. I had the best time. So I'll keep putting in a good word. I will get nowhere, but I'll do it.
And the last question, another fan of yours, Joe Hassan, he wanted to know if you got platinum record plaques for the Simpsons Sing the Blues album.
Yes, we did. And I actually gave mine to my old agent. So he has it. But yes, we did. It was very cool. Are you kidding? To like be on an album, and I'm the only one who's allowed to sing.
Yeah.
Sort of not like a cartoon character. And it was magical. It was incredible. I was like, this is a dream come true.
Well deserved. Well, thank you again for the many years of entertainment. Looking forward to the Paperclip productions in the near future, and just keep up all the greatness there.
Thank you so much, Darren. What a pleasure.
Paltrocast.